In this video, I'm about to show you 10 Wendy's menu items that used to be good but aren't anymore. Starting with number 10, Dave's Single. The Dave Single was once the absolute gold standard of fast food cheeseburgers, representing a pristine execution of founder Dave Thomas's original vision of fresh, never frozen square beef patties, cold, crisp toppings, and a perfectly toasted premium bun. However, a major corporate menu overhaul completely dismantled the delicate structural balance of this classic sandwich, replacing the dependable standard bun with a dense, highly processed potato bun that alters the entire mouthfeel of the burger. This new potato bun is packed with industrial dough conditioners and added simple sugars to give it an unnaturally long shelf life, resulting in a sweet, gummy texture that actively fights against the savory profile of the beef rather than supporting it. Furthermore, corporate franchise operations have quietly altered the baseline assembly metrics, scaling back on premium fresh toppings by standardizing a single ultra-thin slice of processed cheese and reducing fresh lettuce and tomato portions to save on supply chain overhead. When you bite into a modern Dave Single, the once juicy, premium muscle grain beef experience is completely smothered by a dry, sticky carbohydrate blanket that collapses into a dense paste in your mouth, failing to deliver the authentic, high-integrity diner vibe that made the brand a household name. You are paying a significantly inflated price for a highly compromised, systematically stripped product that treats the legacy of its founder with complete institutional disrespect. Number 9, Spicy Chicken Sandwich. The Wendy's Spicy Chicken Sandwich achieved legendary status in the quick service industry for featuring a thick, whole-muscle chicken breast marinated in an authentic, deeply complex fiery pepper blend and coated in a uniquely flaky, coarse breading that shattered perfectly with every single bite. But a system-wide recipe overhaul completely stripped this icon of its premium culinary hardware, completely reworking the chicken breast marinade and replacing the original textured coating with a uniform, mass-produced panko-style breading. This panko modification was explicitly engineered to optimize kitchen velocity and reduce product waste under thermal warming lamps, but it completely ruins the classic eating experience by forming a hard, glassy, oil-saturated shell that lacks any authentic structural flake. To compound this structural failure, the corporate test kitchen introduced a new Southern-style mayonnaise base and standard pickles to the sandwich, completely altering the traditional flavor profile while serving the entire assembly on the highly controversial sticky potato bun. The result is a highly synthesized, heavily dampened sandwich where the natural texture of the poultry is completely lost beneath an aggressive wave of commercial fat stabilizers, artificial spice extractives, and an overly sweet bun that turns mushy the moment it is wrapped in heavy paper. You are paying top dollar premium protein prices for a highly modified, downgraded factory experiment that completely betrays decades of intense customer loyalty. Number 8, French fries. Wendy's once shook up the entire fast food landscape by introducing its natural cut, skin-on French fries, explicitly marketing the presence of real potato skin edges and a heavy dusting of premium sea salt as a rustic, high-integrity alternative to the heavily processed, bleached potato sticks served by corporate competitors. However, continuous supply chain optimization has completely ruined the structural integrity of this beloved side dish, resulting in a fry that is consistently delivered limp, grease-soaked, and completely devoid of any authentic internal fluffiness. The corporate frying process relies on massive industrial vats of commercial seed oils that are subjected to continuous high heat for days at a time, causing the unstable lipids to completely break down and saturate the porous starch walls of the potato. Instead of receiving a crisp, golden tuber that tastes like a real agricultural staple, the modern consumer is handed a cardboard sleeve filled with dark, oily, collapsing potato segments that are frequently cold before you even exit the drive-through lane. The distinct lack of consistent crispness is a direct result of the high sugar retention in modern mass-grown industrial potato varieties, which caramelize too quickly in the oil and create a soggy exterior shell that traps degraded trans fats inside, creating a highly inflammatory, unappetizing mess that is an absolute robbery of your purchasing power. Number 7, Classic Chocolate Frosty. The Classic Chocolate Frosty is one of the most culturally iconic frozen desserts in fast food history, celebrated for its unique, hyper-specific, thick architectural texture that sat perfectly balanced between a traditional milkshake and soft-serve ice cream, requiring a spoon to consume properly. But the corporate push to continuously introduce complex, highly artificial seasonal flavor rotations such as strawberry, pumpkin spice, and modern brownie-infused variations has permanently damaged the baseline formulation and mechanical execution of the original chocolate masterpiece. To facilitate the rapid swapping of flavor syrups within centralized store machines without jamming the high-volume freezing components, the core dairy matrix has been steadily modified with increased stabilizers, non-fat milk solids, and corn syrup emulsifiers. This industrial chemical tweaking has completely altered the density and melting behavior of the classic dessert, leaving you with a product that liquefies far too rapidly into a thin, sugary syrup that lacks the rich, velvety mouthfeel of the original recipe. You are no longer experiencing a premium, slow-churn dairy treat built on structural integrity. Instead, you are handing over your hard-earned cash for a highly synthesized, aerated sugar suspension that has been thoroughly diluted to accommodate corporate marketing stunts and high-volume drive-through velocity. Number 6, chili. Wendy's world-famous chili was traditionally celebrated as a heavy, comforting, protein-dense powerhouse on the menu, simmered slowly for hours using a thick, robust tomato broth packed with real kidney beans, fresh peppers, onions, and massive chunks of chopped hamburger patties straight off the flat-top grill. However, modern operational shifts designed to minimize kitchen labor and maximize absolute food waste consolidation have turned this once hearty comfort food into a thin, overly salted, watery soup that completely lacks substantive hardware. The actual volume of solid, high-integrity beef chunks has been drastically reduced, replaced instead by a highly processed, finely ground meat slurry that easily dissolves into the liquid base, stripping the dish of its signature chunky texture. The broth itself has been heavily augmented with massive doses of sodium chloride, modified cornstarch thickeners, and yeast extracts to artificially force an illusion of rich, slow-cooked, savory depth within a fraction of the traditional preparation time. When you pull the plastic lid off a modern container of Wendy's chili, you are met with a dark, uniform liquid that floats an excessive layer of rendered fat on top, forcing your digestive system to process an extreme sodium surge that triggers instant vascular pressure spikes and chronic metabolic bloating. Number 5, baked potato with bacon and cheese. The hot stuffed baked potatoes at Wendy's were originally introduced to offer a magnificent, whole food refuge from the deep fried madness of the traditional fast food menu, delivering a massive, intact russet potato that was baked fresh in specialized ovens and sliced open to receive high integrity toppings like real dairy butter, fresh sour cream, and crispy bacon bits. But the modern execution of this item represents an absolute structural collapse of basic culinary craftsmanship, treating this root vegetable like an absolute afterthought in the back of the kitchen. Because baking raw potatoes from scratch requires an immense amount of time and dedicated utility space, individual store locations frequently hold pre-baked potatoes inside warming drawers for hours on end, causing the natural moisture inside the tuber to completely evaporate until the interior flesh transforms into a dry, yellow, rubbery mass that is completely unpalatable. To make matters worse, the premium cheese topping has been systematically replaced by a pump of liquid neon nacho cheese sauce that is manufactured from whey, palm oil, and artificial yellow dyes, while the bacon toppings have devolved into paper-thin, pre-cooked factory fragments that completely lack authentic smoky flavor or muscle grain. You are paying a premium price for a highly neglected, structurally dead item that leaves your body entirely starving for authentic micronutrients. Number 4, crispy chicken nuggets. The crispy chicken nuggets from Wendy's once held a dominant position in the fast food landscape, highly praised for delivering a tight, consistent crunch and an authentic white meat poultry flavor that far surpassed the spongy, processed nuggets sold by lower tier competitors. However, a deep look at the modern corporate supply chain reveals a product that has been thoroughly compromised by aggressive weight inflation techniques and cheap factory fillers. The interior meat filling is no longer a solid cut of high density breast tissue. It has been heavily injected with an industrial brine solution packed with sodium phosphates and modified food starches designed to chemically trap water weight inside the patty to lower internal corporate production costs. The outer batter has been modified with cheaper, finely ground wheat flours that absorb an excessive volume of degraded, oxidized commercial frying oils during the cooking process, turning each nugget into an absolute sponge for systemic vascular inflammatory triggers. When you bite through the exterior crust, you are no longer met with a clean, flaking muscle structure. Instead, you get a spongy, rubbery mass that relies entirely on artificial flavor enhancers and heavy sodium injections to mask a complete absence of true nutritional substance and material quality. Number 3, Asiago Ranch Chicken Club. The Asiago Ranch Chicken Club was originally launched as an upscale gourmet tier entry into the premium sandwich market, designed to capture the suburban consumer by stacking a thick, juicy, home-style chicken breast filet with authentic aged Asiago cheese, thick-cut applewood smoked bacon, fresh leaf lettuce, and a rich herb-infused ranch dressing. But when you dissect the modern physical engineering of this sandwich, the high-end illusion completely vanishes, revealing a massive corporate margin play that leaves your wallet entirely exposed. The chicken filet has been subjected to severe shrinkage protocols, arriving at individual stores pre-frozen with a thick, heavy breading designed to artificially simulate volume while hiding a smaller, stringy, low-density poultry core sourced from high-speed factory farms. The premium Asiago cheese is sliced so incredibly thin that it completely melts into the breading without imparting any of its signature sharp, nutty flavor profile, while the applewood bacon has been reduced to brittle, pre-cooked strips that lack any authentic moisture or rich texture. The entire sandwich is now served on the sweet, gummy potato bun, which immediately collapses into a soggy, compressed mass under the weight of the soybean oil-based ranch dressing, forcing you to pay an absolute luxury tax for a messy, low-integrity factory assembly. Number 2, Son of Baconator. The Son of Baconator was explicitly created to provide a slightly smaller, more calorically manageable alternative to the massive flagship Baconator burger, promising to deliver the exact same uncompromising standard of fresh beef patties layered with high-integrity, thick-cut applewood, smoked bacon, and melted American cheese. But in their relentless pursuit of quarterly shareholder profit expansions, corporate executives have quietly allowed this item to devolve into a dry, heavily compressed, hyper-salted disaster that completely lacks basic structural balance. Because the smaller patties possess less absolute mass, they dry out with extreme speed on the high-heat flat-top grills, turning into gray, leather-like discs if they are held inside plastic warming trays for even a few minutes during peak drive-through rushes. The bacon layers are routinely delivered undercooked or completely shattered into tiny fragments, failing to provide the continuous, overlapping blanket of smoky protein that justified the burger's premium title. When this dry meat and brittle bacon assembly is slapped onto the modern sticky potato bun, the lack of natural juiciness forces the entire sandwich to feel like a heavy, choking hazard that requires a massive fountain drink to swallow, representing a total extraction of consumer value for an item that used to be a definitive crowd pleaser. Number 1, Bourbon Bacon Cheeseburger. The bourbon bacon cheeseburger entered the menu with massive culinary fanfare as part of the specialized Made to Crave lineup, instantly capturing consumer attention by promising a high-end restaurant quality flavor experience driven by a thick, sweet, smoky, bourbon infused sauce, crispy fried onions, thick cut bacon, and real Munster cheese. However, this item sits at the absolute pinnacle of fast food recipe degradation, serving as a literal monument to how quickly an excellent concept can be entirely ruined by corporate cost cutting and the commercial exploitation of human sensory triggers. The signature bourbon sauce, which originally possessed a complex, tangy depth, has been thoroughly reformulated into a cheap, syrupy glaze dominated almost entirely by high fructose corn syrup, modified cornstarch, and liquid smoke chemicals designed to shock your taste buds into a temporary state of dopamine addiction while completely masking the low grade of the beef. The crispy fried onion strings are frequently delivered as a stale, grease-saturated mound of soggy flour batter that has absorbed highly oxidized frying fats, completely stripping the burger of its intended textural contrast. The Munster cheese has been swapped out or cut down so drastically that it fails to register on the palate, leaving the consumer with a hyper-palatable, heavily oversalted, sugar-drowned carbohydrate bomb that floods your portal vein with simple sugars and trans fats, proving that modern operations can successfully monetize a premium title by completely gutting the physical integrity of the food hardware. At the end of the day, building a personal routine that protects your financial health and fuels your physical body for elite performance means you have to completely stop trusting the emotional manipulation of slick marketing campaigns and look deeply at the core assembly of the fast food chains you support. The modern industrial food complex has spent decades using advanced sensory science to alter our natural cravings, conditioning us to accept that our daily fuel should be highly processed, overpriced corporate junk that we pull out of a paper bag without a single thought. But your hard-earned money and your physical body deserve absolute, uncompromised respect. The next time you find yourself pulling up to a drive-through speaker or standing before an ordering counter, turn the transaction completely around in your mind. Analyze the ingredient deck and look closely at the operational efficiency. If you are looking at a brand that uses compressed meat pastes, pre-frozen factory bags, and shrunk portions wrapped in premium pricing, cancel the transaction entirely, no matter how famous the lifestyle influencer is who endorsed it on your digital feed. Look for heavy, high-ounce options that feature intact, recognizable whole proteins, fresh, unadulterated greens, and clean, single-ingredient starches. Demand the kind of basic construction integrity that should be the bare minimum for human fuel. When you stop handing your hard-earned cash over to low-integrity fast food chains, you reclaim your true purchasing power and force the entire market to respect human physiology. Invest your money exclusively in classic, clean, durable agricultural craftsmanship that supports your metabolism throughout a long, busy day and actively fuels your cells with genuine vitality. It saves your bank account thousands of dollars in the long run, cuts down on systemic cellular inflammation, and ensures that you remain sharp, energized, and completely in control of your daily routine. Be the smart, disciplined consumer who knows the exact difference between real whole food value and corporate advertising hype.